Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! That's right. Hello! Look, the Rev is back. Paul Meinberg back in the chat. Larry D, Doug Doyle, Keith Kajeski, Pee Wee, Darren, all the regulars, QC Beast.
There's a new guy in the chat too. Procaccini, and how do you say that name?
Procaccini?
Mrs. Procaccini's husband.
Mrs. Procaccini's husband, correct.
Yeah, forget
He
it.
spoke today on the phone, me and Mrs. Procaccini's husband.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
Back to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. You know which one. Well, we had a guy on here a couple of weeks ago says he was the firehouse, but this is the only one that brings the firehouse kitchen table to you, Gons.
Yeah, for sure. We made that guy's day, believe it or not. Do you get
He's back on. He's doing a good job. He's
Yeah,
been posting.
too.
Yeah, he's doing good.
We'll get him. When you going away next, Ruff? He'll be filling in for you. What is that?
Soon.
No trips coming. It's like soon. Oh yeah.
XA on the fill-in A.
Now?
XA on the fill-in A. How's Mikey doing? Any word on the on Mikey?
I was just gonna say that. I remember that guy with that. Who was that?
The velvet voice.
Velvet voice.
You got any info, Guns? What do you got?
Colin.
I have some. I mean, we can find them. Let me see what I have. What do we have of
Mike's?
Yeah.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
No, it's a different guy. No, he's too soft-spoken. He's too soft-spoken.
He said that to the drill. He must have said that to the drill instructor when a guy told him that, Mike, you have to do couple push-ups. Mike's like, what?
Sweating like a fiend over there.
He's sweating like Mike Tyson in the third grade spelling bee, bro. I heard that.
I was hurt at work today.
Yes, he was. You don't even check into the chat anymore.
He was here last time.
Pre-show, he's not in the. He's a busy guy.
He was there. He was definitely there. Where the hell is my?
What?
Yeah,
you're unprepared.
No, I'm not unprepared.
You know what it is? You have a hat on. The hair's.
Well, that's what Darren DeFries was saying. Hey, bad hair day. No, guy. I was down digging trenches all day today, doing trench rescue. A little shout out to the Martin County people.
Martin County, shout out. Any Martin County guys out there, give us a shout back.
Sabrina Company. They said they were going to watch, but I don't know. I put up the test. We'll see.
I don't see him in the chat.
We'll
Maybe
see.
We'll smoke up your ass. I don't know. And you didn't dig no trench today. The chief doesn't dig trenches, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. You know
I walk by hand or with a machine.
Oh, by hand, man. Come on, by it's the only way.
He pointed where the trench went.
Well, are you buying any of this? Because I'm calling bullshit right here, man. Bullshit. You didn't dig no trenches.
No. Oh, yes, I did. I used it. Yeah, you used a nice little backhoe, buddy. Of course.
But, you used a backhoe. You didn't dig them by hand.
Fuck no. Who digs trenches?
Still digging it.
I'm still digging it.
You thought he was going to dig it by hand?
I asked him if he dug it by hand. He said yes by hand.
A 10-foot trench he's going to dig by hand?
I said, you didn't dig it by hand, did you? You used the machine. He said, of course by hand.
Well, I wanted to see he wasn't paying attention, so by hand. Oh, really? Oh, I hooked him, motherfucker.
These hands.
Yeah, these hands. This is by hands. It's all, it's all in the hydraulics,
What do you hydraulically play the next commercial, bro? How about that?
How about
11?
No, Scott.
No.
No.
How about we don't do any of that shit? All right.
That was good for you. Don't take no shit off nobody.
My little Italian buddies commercial, bro. Vince is awesome. He's going to have a free giveaway at Indy. So we'll have details on that once he sends it to me.
All right. Let's see what we got. Let's listen to Vince.
Play it.
Here we go.
Need a new floor for your fire station? Choose an Armor Tuff interlocking flooring system to cover your aging, stained, cracked concrete or epoxy floor. Around for nearly 20 years and proven to be the best choice in renovating your station floors, covering nearly 600 floors across the country, Armor Tuff is proudly made in America and comes with a lifetime warranty with floors that are usually installed in 1 or 2 days, depending on the size of your station, and no disruption in the process to your station's operations. Our system is guaranteed from chipping, cracking, peeling, breaking, or staining. The tiles are stain resistant and impervious to chemicals or volatiles that are used in the fire service. If you damage one tile, you can lift and replace without anyone knowing. And once it's installed, your floor would be easy to clean with just soap and water. It's not only for apparatus rooms. You can install an Armor Tuff floor in virtually any room and choose from the hundreds of colors from the Designer Series or, if you like, from the Utility Series floor coverings. Are you in need of gear racks, an extractor, or gear dryers? Install an Armor Tuff floor in your apparatus bay and take full advantage of a deep discount, saving you thousands of dollars on any of the Grove products line. Why install a breakable epoxy floor that'll need replacing in 5 to 10 years when you could have a floor that will last a lifetime? The Armor Tuff flooring system is half the price of epoxy and will last a lifetime without issue, more importantly. Join the hundreds of career and volunteer departments nationwide who have chosen an Armor Tuff interlocking tile floor. Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
Let me tell you why you should call my little buddy Vince, right? Number one, Ruff, right? He's trustworthy. He gives you a good deal. He gives you shit for free. You get the free logo. And his workmanship is class A, bro. He's a great guy. So call Vince, will you?
Yeah.
Who's buying an Indy? Who bought last? We bought last. He owes us, right? Oh, I can taste
Go to the
that.
steak place. What is that? St. Elmo's?
St. Elmo's with the gigantic fire shrimp.
You ain't fucking kidding. Those steaks are monstrous, man.
Yes. All right, let's play the next commercial really quick, and then we'll be right into our guest.
It'll be 23 seconds quick. Here we go.
Go.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
All right, you're not going to believe this tip. You ready? This actually does go on, though, in the fire service. I know you guys love the job, right? Do me a favor, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy that this never happens. Don't get yourself fixed up or have surgery on your own time. You know who I'm talking about in general here, Ruff? But there's plenty of guys who do it. I can name about 5 guys who go and take care of things on their own time. If you get hurt on the job, go out sick, get yourself fixed up, and come back. That's what I'm going to say to you. Don't rush things on your own time because you don't want to miss the job or you're afraid they're going to put you out or some stupidity like that. I don't want to say who did that, but I can name quite a few guys. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all you got to say about that? That's all I'm going to say about
that. You want to bring him in?
I'm
ready.
ready.
Want to bring him? Jim, he's itching. Here he goes. He's staring at the camera. He's waiting for his shine.
He's got audio. We fixed his audio on up.
All right.
Do it.
Ready?
Here we go.
Here we go. Coming to the stage, FDNY ladder 154, Jimmy Amann.
There it is. And opening day for baseball today. Just so that.
Is it? Did they win?
It is. The Yankees are winning.
Mets lost. Mets lost. Yankees.
Nobody cares about the Mets.
I'm about to throw you right out of here, bro. That's what. Let's before we jump into Jimmy's career.
We're good.
Let's do this. USA, bro. Let's get patriotic and play the.
Yes. All right, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the show, Jim. Jim's got he's near and dear to my heart, Ruff, right? You know, because he worked with my brother, the Rug.
That's right.
My dearly departed brother. Rug. And I'm sure you got plenty of Rug stories, bro. You also probably work with Steve, too, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You ever catch it for White Sox?
No.
No?
He was...
Maybe he gave you a pass because you knew the Rug. I don't know.
Well, He never stayed at our house that long because if Steve Ferring was working,
Oh my God, cement head.
Steve was working. Your brother just turned around, went, said what he had to say, and then left.
Well, you must have seen him too, because you got there in '81. I know I'm jumping ahead, but he was in probably 138 at that time.
Yes, yeah.
So you got him. You got him the whole laughing like a circle. You got him as a fireman. You got him as a deputy.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yes, dickhead.
It was like
There he is.
on cue.
He's checking in. Chief
Ferring was like a chihuahua.
Ferring.
Well, I think your brother
Ferring was
fired
like
the opening
man.
shots at Steve and at Ferring, and Steve fired right back, and that started the whole.
He was
whole
good.
thing.
He was good. He was good. Well, let's go back before that. Let's start out. Where'd you grow up? What neighborhood you from? What made you become a fireman?
All right. I grew up in the town of Albertson, and went to Herrick's High School.
Volley.
Mostly did gymnastics. Did a little wrestling.
Wrestle.
My cousin. Oh, I'd say originally my whole life I wanted to be a cop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We need to stop there.
But my cousin, my cousin lived a few doors down.
Slapped you.
Cousin slapped you. Some sense into you.
So he got me to join the volleys with him because would be fun. And so I joined the volleys, and
That's where you met Tony B.
I got sworn in with Tony. Tony
In the volleys?
In the volleys with Tony Belisari, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wait, hold on here. Wait, you mentioned him, Tony. We need to do this.
Like a young, skinny version.
We got this classic
Was
picture of him.
was he a storyteller then? Oh my God! Look at that guy.
He's getting ready to go plow some snow.
Or something else, who knows?
Yeah, well, he ain't done.
Yeah. Wow.
Look at that guy.
That one goes back. I wonder if he's in the chat today. Well, he'll see this somehow.
So he was crazy about the job at that time too. Huh? You guys were both
yeah.
nuts for the job, like right away.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of guys from the Albertson Valleys that were in the city FD. So growing up, I didn't know anybody in the fire department. I knew a lot of cops, so that's I figured I'd be a cop. But once I got in the Valleys, it was like, well, let me start taking fire department tests. And
so was your cousin already on the job, or he was taking the test too?
no, he went another way.
Oh, there he is.
He actually became a cop. And then he transferred over to the fire department in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh.
So he retired out of West Hartford.
Oh, so he had to slap you, and then he went and became something else, and then,
So I got hired for. I took civil service tests all over. I got hired by El Paso City PD. I turned them down, and at the same time, I got hired. Well, they were going to hire me in Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, but at that time, my parents were getting divorced, so I kind of wanted to stay around. I didn't want to go out of town until that all got settled. So I called up Fairfax and I asked them if I can postpone to the next class. And it's not Probie school down there; it's rookie school. So I got in the next class, and then I heard the city fire department was starting to hire. My list number was coming up, so I got called for Nassau County Corrections. And thank heavens that was only a 9-month job. And
how long is their academy?
The Fairfax?
No, the corrections.
Corrections. It was weird. They split my class in two, and one half did the corrections class first. And they put us out into the floors working with the regular correction officers. So that was we kind of learned the job the way it's done, not just by the book when you go to school.
What was that like, Jim? Like doing that, being out there in population?
It really wasn't that much fun. Not many of the people in there were actually sorry for what They were more sorry that they got caught instead of I think I only interacted with one guy who actually he was in the juvie section that he screwed up, got caught, and it would probably be the last time he ever did anything, against, breaking the law or whatever. So, but everybody else,
for most of it was a revolving door, right? You come in, they back out.
Worried, like looking over your back all the time, like yeah.
Well, there was one guy that I forgot his name. He was in there for murder. He murdered a girl in a bar with an axe.
Oh,
and
holy
good guy.
Christ!
And at the
time, to be a fireman.
I hope not. At the time, he was also wanted in California for a murder out there, and California at the time still had a death penalty, and so they were going to ship him out to California. I had to go down 4 flights in an elevator with him and 3 other inmates by myself. So I was a little nervous at the time, but nothing happened. But
ready.
You ever have to slap some wrestling moves down on those guys or what?
Not really.
No?
No, it was the one thing you wanted, like, you had a routine there, and they were as a privilege, they had what was called a late night. So if like there was a basketball game on or a football game, baseball game or whatever, they were allowed to stay out of their cells for, until the game was over. So if you kind of didn't want to have to do that from the officer's end, you would. It was a fun thing to do, but it really wasn't morally correct. When they went on a movement to get down to for dinner or lunch or whatever, you would pull one guy out of the line, the cell line, and you say, so and so whatever is giving us a hard time. If he doesn't straighten out, you're going to lose your late night, and you let that guy go, and then you pull somebody out of the middle of the movement, and you pull somebody out of the end, and so now you got 3 guys in a group of 20 that like, well, this guy's got, he's going to make us lose our late night. And, by the time they got back from the movement into the cells, they everybody in the cell knows it, and they start lumping them up. So now there's a fight in the cell block. Now you lock the whole cell block down.
Yeah,
now you don't have to worry about the late night from the officer's side. So.
I kind of think that morals go out the door as soon as you walk into that place, bro. So I don't think you got to worry about it.
What was interesting too, there was actually a full blown riot there when I was working that the news didn't know about. Never made the news. The whole place.
Nobody said nothing, right?
Yeah. But
Andy Dufresne stories? Mm-hmm.
Like Bizarro World. It's like Bizarro World.
Some of them I probably couldn't even tell on.
That's a crazy job, man. That's one job.
Hey, Jim, was Frankie McCartan there? You remember? Was Frankie McCartan work? I remember he was corrections, wasn't he? Frankie McCartan was 117. Do you remember him? I think he was.
I don't think we were there at the same time.
Oh no, no, he was New York. You're right. He was New York.
Jim was Nassau.
Right. Yeah, the one thing I do remember, I was talking with one inmate. They transfer back and forth because they're not penitentiaries, so they go into court, or they may go to the court in the city. They had to get transferred over to Rikers, and the one inmate said they'd rather be in Rikers Island than Nassau County Jail.
Really?
We were pretty strict with our movements and everything like that. With a movement, if they were going from point A to point B, every time they went through a gate, the next gate didn't open up until the one behind them was locked. So if shit hit the fan, it would be contained in a small area. When we started doing drills over in Rikers and going through Rikers and stuff like that, it scared the shit out of me. They had all the gates open. If the inmates wanted to go off, they would have the whole building, and I was like, I wanted to get the hell out of there really quick. It's pretty,
you guys are doing it wrong.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, So you have hundreds
doing it wrong.
Yeah,
Stephen. But so you get the call for the FD, you must have been flipping cartwheels, bro. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was.
He ain't lying.
I could. Yeah, I definitely would have been divorced if I stayed in the. I had one friend. Years later, we were talking about my time at the jail, and he goes, "Yeah, you were turned into a real shithead. Yeah, you were. It was. I was actually
probably makes you angry. You're angry.
Yeah. Well, what happens? A lot of times, what happens is something happens in one of the floors. They'll alert all the officers, and all right, we're having trouble on B floor or whatever, and so the extra guys working on the floor would go up to that floor to try to contain what was going on. So basically, you're going up there just with your hands. There's there's no, you don't have nightsticks, you don't have anything else. So you're going up there to fight. And so you're getting ready to go to fight. So you're getting your adrenaline up, and then you get there and you see there's 20 or 30 officers there that are going to kick the shit out of them, and they got to go to the hospital. So then they stop. So now you're there all hyped up, and
now
it's
you
like
don't get to beat anybody up. It kills the whole vibe, bro.
And that happens almost every single tour you work. So it's like, you go out to a bar and somebody bumps into you. It's like,
oh man,
never liked you.
Yeah, and it's and I asked my buddy, how come you never told me? He said, I was afraid you'd hit me or something, But I'm glad I got to do it, but I wouldn't recommend that job to anybody.
No, I bet you it made you appreciate BI.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Hey, look,
BI? We're still
BI.
trying to figure out what that is. We really haven't nailed down what that BI is.
Buildings or get in a fist fight tussle with some lowlife. I'll do BI.
MS-13 guy.
Yeah, MS-13. Yeah, with 8 teardrops on his face.
Yeah, Christ.
All right, so you get the call. In what it
was
81.
Yes, September 5th, 81. Got sworn in down at City Hall. It was like 320, 325 or whatever.
Wow. Who was in your class? Any notables?
Probably a whole shitload of them. It's like I never really followed the careers of everybody, but
right.
I said 2 guys from my squad passed on 9/11. Jimmy Amann.
Jimmy Amann was in.
Yeah, he was 2 people down from me on my left, and then Vinny Halloran was on the other side of me. He passed away.
Wasn't he a fireman at 154 too? Jimmy Amann?
Yeah. Well, Jimmy came on when we graduated. 5 of us went to 307 and 154. So I went to the truck. Jimmy Amann, Kevin Kelly, Richie Toshak, and
Kevin Kelly
and Frank Tyrell went to the engine. So Frankie Tyrell came over to the truck eventually. Jimmy Amann came over to the truck. The other 2 stayed in the engine.
You know what's so funny? As you say their names, all I can think about is the stupid nicknames my brother had for them. I'm like, they all had nicknames over there.
That's a good badge number 2.
It wasn't too smart.
So what they called, they called Amato
Blinky. Amato was Blinky,
right? Because he had
he had like a twitch.
Kevin Kelly was Big Pen, right?
Big Pen.
Kevin Kelly was Big Pen.
Bill Tefano named him the Wrinkler. He was like a super villain because everything on him was wrinkled.
A wrinkler, a super villain.
That's funny shit.
Oh man!
So you would open his locker, or he would open his locker. None of the clothes was hanging on hangers. It was all just thrown in, so everything was wrinkled. His money was just shoved in his pocket, so he pulled out his money and it's like unwrinkle it. So
the wrinkler, that is funny.
There was some funny names there, bro. I mean,
what was yours? What was yours?
Well, initially before my accident, it was right when the Police Academy movies came out, and who's the guy? The guy had the guns all the time. That was
shit! Somebody in the channel though.
We're talking about a TV show?
No, from the
movies. It's the movies.
Police Academy.
Police Academy.
75 movies they made.
Tackleberry. So the old timers nicknamed me Tackleberry for a little while because I was the only one in the house that actually went, that hunted or so I was big in, I'm still big into firearms and stuff like that. So they would always call me Tackleberry. So.
Now, when you guys became the Northern Knights, didn't you get all knightly names too?
Nah.
No?
Well,
my brother.
Well, no, not really knightly names, but I'd say your brother with the rug.
He was Sir Mop on
top. It looked like a Roman, like Greek god type thing. So
they called him Sir Mop on top.
Yeah, I started calling him Testicles.
Testicles.
Oh, shit. That place
he came there after you, though, right?
Yeah. What was that?
He came there after you, right? My brother, when he come in, like 80, I don't know, what is it? Mid-80s?
No, I got a book here, a Centennial book. When did Richie come on? That's the engine. Okay.
Dingleberry.
Oh, it's Tackleberry.
No, Tackleberry. Somebody's being
Tackleberry. Yep.
Yeah,
Kubla. Richie Kubla, January 26, 1984.
84 he came on. There you go. It's all right. Not too far after you.
Nope.
No.
So how'd you get the thumbs? What was the story with the thumbs?
That was in the volleys. I was on the racing team, and was doing.
Got stuck in.
Yeah, we were at a practice, and we were doing probably the least dangerous event. It was just hose efficiency. Basically, you start with 3 uncoupled 2.5-inch lines, and there's a target down range.
Quickly connect them and how fast you can get it.
Yeah, so
I was a hydrant guy back in my volley house.
Okay,
I had the hydrant.
I was the first coupling guy. So, the idea is, you get you back twist the hose a little bit so it goes together faster, and then when you get to the end of your slack, you basically kind of turn around to get a straight line on the hose so the water goes through faster. And the guy hit the hydrant, and a loop started to come from the hydrant towards me, and I was holding, and my hand just went up like that, and my whole hand went numb. And so then when I looked down at my hand, there was I just had the bone sticking out of the hand. So all the skin popped off the thumb. They
a little bit of a deglove.
Yeah, that's a degloving injury. Yeah. So they take me to Long Island Jewish Hospital, and they had a surgeon come in, and he said, I'm either going to wake up with my hand in a cast that way, because the piece came off fully intact. So they found it. Yeah, they found it because it sailed about 30 feet or so away from me, but guys saw something go that way, and so they followed. They went over there, they picked it up.
It's like a scavenger hunt. Thumb.
So the doctor said you'll wake up with your hand in a cast. That means we were able to reattach. And then plan B was you'll wake up with your hand attached to your body somewhere. So I woke up, I was attached like this. So I got like a scar running from here to here where they took the grass.
Oh, they took the skin over there. Gotcha. Yeah.
So I was like this in the middle of summer for over a month, and once when they cut me loose, literally, there's a thumb now. The thumb was about like that big with all the extra meat, and this is the result of 5 surgeries.
Holy cow! How long were you out of work?
11 months. That's why I never abused medical leave, because I took advantage of it. I was off for 11 months, no problem. So. A lot of guys take advantage of it, but
when they tell you it's your turn to tap out because we need some overtime tonight, like that kind of shit. That's why I wasn't light. Like, nah,
kind of. But I said it helped me having that unlimited sick time, and it's probably one of the best things we have in the fire department.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yeah, so you wouldn't get that fixed on your own time, right?
No,
some knucklehead would.
Well, that was I was covered under their workman's comp,
right?
Workman's comp.
Yeah.
So I just got off probation when it happened.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you came back and you
that's
nicknamed
at
his
least good.
Thumbs.
Yeah, and that's how I got the nickname Thumbs. Yeah. So
Yeah,
It's brutal, man.
I never knew that story. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Who knew that racing was lethal? You know, that used to be like on ABC Sports, that
what's
racing.
yep. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it was that
Sports
popular.
had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried getting it into other states. They used to have drills, like show drills in Pennsylvania. They go to different places in Pennsylvania to see if they can get it started. A bunch of teams would go down and have the full race thing, and
Full firematics.
never caught on. It's expensive. There's not hardly any. Well, there's still a lot of companies that do it, but it's big dollars. Basically, you got 2 drag cars you got to maintain.
I was going to say the fastest backstep you'll ever be on, bro.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever watch it, Roof? You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, they're
The agony of feet of the thumb. The agony of the thumb.
Agony of the thumb.
I was
I don't want to relive that.
I was at one state tournament, and I remember it was the C rig going down. I think it was C hose, and the guy hit his first, his stop mark for the hydrant. The guy in the back step flew over the rail in front of the rear tire, and the driver guns it and runs
him over. Oh my god!
Yeah. No, he didn't get hurt that bad, but they still took him to the hospital. It's fun stuff.
I got to ask you this, Jim. This is a question. Out of the 5 of you who went to the firehouse, who took the pressure off of who?
What? Say the first part again.
Out of the 5 guys, 5 of you guys went 5 probies to the firehouse. Who took the pressure off everybody? Wasn't you? Was it?
All, it was all a good crew.
All right, so that's good then.
Well, all completely different personalities. So I'd say we were the first probies there, probably in like 5 years. So we probably all kind of, took the same. It was good that a lot of us went there.
I was going to say that takes a lot of pressure just in general.
The shit was spread out amongst 5 of us.
Right.
Just going there, one guy, and he gets all the shit on him. So, but it's Jimmy Amann. I forgot when Jimmy Amann came to the truck, but it wasn't. It's maybe right after Probie. His Probie period was over. So,
how did you get to go to the truck? You know somebody or?
Well, I had the Fairfax County experience, so I had almost 3 years under my belt from there already. So,
you were there for 3 years in Fairfax?
Yeah, from like March of '78 to it was like the middle of December of '80. I came up. That's when I started the corrections gig.
Did you catch any good work over there in Fairfax?
Yeah, we caught a few good fires. There was a lot of. It was weird down there. They do. When you come out of Probie school, you are actually an EMT also. So they run. I think they do it. They do that ambulance things better than New York City does. Yeah, because we took that whole thing on, and it's still really not straightened out right yet. But down there, it really sucks riding the ambulance all the time. But there's some guys that really like it. So they offered a first promotional rank. You saw it as a firefighter 1. At least I don't know what they do now, but it was firefighter 1, firefighter 2 was the chauffeurs, and the guys who wanted to be in the ambulance all the time. So when they came to work, the only rig they rode on was the ambulance. So they were like the shift CMT, and one of the guys from the firehouse would be assigned to drive the ambulance. So he would be the second EMT on the ambulance. Or ambulance, as they say down there.
Ambulance.
Did the guys in 154 or 307 know that you were from Fairfax? Did they know that?
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. So, but now, originally I was going to be assigned to 117. I can't think of and the guy that caused a lot of trouble in your firehouse. Shit, what the hell was his name? He's the guy who kicked the one guy in the balls and punched the Probie out or something like that.
Refrato.
He actually got fired from the job eventually, and he's the
Not
last I
McDougal.
heard he was no Lions. Lions.
Oh, yeah. Bobby Lyons, I think it was.
Bobby Lyons.
Bobby Lyons. Yeah, he wasn't there when I got there. He was already out. Yeah.
I had the hook. I had the only firehouse I knew was going to the Rock and looking up off the Parkway and see the firehouse.
Right.
On
Yeah.
Sawyer Boulevard South, and my cousin was the Port Authority cop, and so I was talking to him, and his partner was Flood's son, Captain Flood's son. So my cousin talked to talk, and went to Captain Flood, and Lyons went to the firehouse and introduced himself, and he was a sports guy. He played softball, baseball, that type of stuff. So what I'm thinking is that Captain Flood called Captain Charon to do a flop, a flip flop, flip flop, and I wound up there. So
Lyons walked in. He says, "I'm a good softball player and a basketball player," and you came in and said,
he lived in. I think he lived in the neighborhood. He lived in the neighborhood, and so it's. But I think I got the better end of the deal. So,
what did Jim? Were they running around a lot in 81 when you got there? Were the trucks running around? No, not like later on.
No,
well, he's got the numbers right there. Roof, watch.
Yeah, I got the numbers. Hold on, let me look at the numbers.
Wait a minute.
Let me see. let me go to the book.
They had to be doing 5,000.
Yeah, I think the busiest. All right, here it is. So 81. 81, 2,500.
Perfect.
Hold on, that's the engine. That's the engine. Hold
on. Oh my God, even better.
Before CFRD.
Let me see. If I can find it.
Steve Weissman.
Here we go. 81. We're doing 3,800 runs in 81.
Yeah, it's still a lot. Yeah.
And we peaked out at 6,007.
Yeah,
in
I was
92.
Wow.
We stayed like 4,000, 5,000 runs, and I think
my first year there in 93. In 1993, we did 5,500 runs. You were going to a lot of pull boxes too. I mean, we were going to, but there was a lot of. I felt like I was catching work. When did you feel like in your whole career, not to jump around, what was the busiest time?
Well, that period in the 90s that we were doing 5,000, 6,000.
I felt like you were going to work all the time. I swear, I felt like you guys were going.
We would go to 154 a lot, man.
There was one.
I remember they were going to a lot of work, man. Yeah. Like a couple.
There was one period. I don't know what year it was, but usually it gets busy like just before Christmas. Everybody starts putting their heating systems on and putting up the candles and all that shit. There was a stretch from the middle of December all the way to the summer where almost every single tour you went to work, you caught a job, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, in a 24, and everybody was catching on 138, 136, you guys 163. So I think that time was probably the best time as a whole, because everybody was sharp. Everybody was on their toes. Everybody, being that we're, going here and there for work, we'd work well with 138. Well, 117. You
guys were in a good spot, man.
Yeah, wow. Everybody meshed. It was perfect.
You guys everybody were knew their job. Heavily populated over there, man. The Spanish community there's so many people.
But they got H's there all over the place. Right. They got H's. They got every type of building, but they have a huge area.
Good mix of buildings.
Huge area.
Yeah, we didn't really have any brownstones. We had some brownstone types down near the hospital. We didn't really
have many projects over there, right?
No, none at all. Thank heavens.
None, right? That's what I said. They don't even have anything.
Nope. Yeah, we had one building over 7 stories, maybe 2, including a hospital. We had the hospital, but really didn't have high rise. Left Rack City, we went down to Left Rack City a lot, so that was kind of like a high rise down there. But
where'd you get your first job?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't remember.
You remember your first job?
No, not really.
Look at that guy! Holy mackerel!
That was bunker gear. That wasn't even.
That was 95. After 95.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, you look like a baby there, for God's sakes.
And you already had.
What happened?
Had hair.
Had hair. Yeah.
You had hair.
Yeah, but what was nice about that time frame was like we had so much work. It's like just coming into work. It wasn't, if we're going to get a job tonight. It's just when we're going to get a job. So you're already in that we're going to catch work mode. So you went to work. You made sure your gear was right. You went over the rig. You made sure all the tools were good. Which you should be doing anyway, but. Back then it was just, you just did it unconsciously because you were going to catch work. So make sure all your masks were operating. You had spare bottles.
Chiming in, 93 transmitted 5-second alarms in 3 months.
Yeah. And there you go. Dan is probably one of the best lieutenants on the job.
I was just asking, what's it like? You guaranteed doing a drill that night.
Oh, absolutely. And a big drill.
Yep. No sitting at the table reading something. You were doing something.
The drill starts at A, and you're working your way to B, but it jumps to Z, and then it goes to M, and then eventually you wind up at B again. So, but it's who
are your officers there?
Oh,
who are your officers there?
When I first got there, let's see. I had Lieutenant Howie Kennedy. He was a Gordon Bennett winner. I think the year previous to when I got there.
Wow.
Joe Donatelli. He was he flew in B-17s in World War II.
Damn.
Yes. Oh, it's and it was Lieutenant Goodman. He was, and his name is a perfect description of him. He was a perfect gentleman the whole time. And it was Captain Kuchera.
Cool.
He had old school guy, had 20 years as a captain in 154.
Wow.
He lived in Corona.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he lived in Corona just about 20. I think it was like 19 plus years. He lived in Corona and he walked to the firehouse every day. So
Corona.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a big, Corona was a big Italian neighborhood, so.
It was. Yep.
Wow. But it's, they were good bosses to learn from. And
when did you go to chauffeur school?
86, I believe. So when I 86 and
how'd you like driving?
Driving is all right. I liked it. So one of my first details to drive was to 117, and Lieutenant Buckeye
can't be good.
I was going to say, is there any garbage cans involved or anything?
No, he was.
We always got to bring those garbage cans in here somehow.
Son of a bitch.
But we got relocated to Manhattan, which I have no idea. The streets of Manhattan, but Dan knows almost every street in the city because I think he's worked on pools every place in the city. So
he knows everything. That man knows everything.
And the thing in the firehouse was you don't drive Dan, you steer him because he just tells you go here, go here.
You steer him.
That's perfect.
What was good, he had a certain way to get into Astoria that you keep in the back of your mind all these maybe they're not shortcuts, but a lot of times the BQE was backed up or was shut down for whatever reason. And now if you used to go into getting to like 117 the same way all the time, it gets shut down. Oh shit, we'll just go this way instead. So he was a good boss to have. You learned a lot of stuff from him.
Jimmy, what were those objects in the rearview mirror when you were driving?
The objects?
Yeah, what were the objects?
What
are the objects? What units? What vehicles? What are they behind you in the rearview mirror?
Oh,
second due.
Second due. I was trying to lay after one of our shirts, trying to slide it in there, but objects going to throw you off a little.
Hey Jim, I remember I worked a detail, and he was working, and I think it was at night or getting right around maybe 7, 8 o'clock or something like that. I don't know if I said this when he was on the show, but like I remember we were driving, and like, you remember when they used to dig up the road? They used to put those metal plates on the road, right?
Do that shit.
And something happened where the plate was like cockeyed a little bit. I mean, the hole wasn't open, but it was cockeyed. A truck must have hit it, and it bounced, and it was off a little bit. Next thing you know, we were like off the truck and got, again, I would have never even thought about that. You know what I mean? I don't remember what we did, but we started doing some finagling to.
Well, you put it back to where it should have been. Yeah, it's a Dan was perils. We used to call it like perils of grandma. We'd be out on a run or coming back from a box, and we're going back to the firehouse, and all of a sudden you go, sorry, turn here. So you turn there. And there's like a street sign that got sheared off, and it's about maybe 6 inches a foot of the signpost. They were called grandma impalers. So usually if we had a junior guy or proby on the rig, he was the one, and we kind of make like bets to see how many strikes with the maul would take him to either push it down completely into the ground or to shear it off at the sidewalk level. So, but we did that. If you're just driving back, they turn here. Okay, so it's a grandma. We're going to be fixing something.
We're doing something, right? Yeah, he did that a lot. I remember the guys talking about that.
It was good.
So do you remember the first day the rug walked into the firehouse?
Probably not.
No?
But I say, Richie, I just remember a few times, like before Richie became a chauffeur, and he was a good chauffeur too. There was, if you had the OV position, in the truck, that was one thing I'd always make sure I knew who the engine chauffeurs were in the battalion. Because some guys are better than others, right? And Richie would always get water, so if I had the OV, I would have no problem going in the floor above and doing a good search. Staying in there doing a good search. Where some guys, they're working, or certain companies are working. Maybe I won't go in as far, because I don't know if they're going to get water. So Richie was a good chauffeur, but before
that rig,
before he became a chauffeur, when he went in with the nozzle team, if we get back to the firehouse, his rug would be all shifted around.
So Murray's rig came off.
Be up in the bathroom, and it's like it's all like cockeyed on his head, and it's like
Murray's wigs.
It's not a Murray's wig.
He never thought it looked bad. That's even more. I mean, that's even crazy to me. Well, he never thought it looked bad.
I remember when you had Phil Tefano on, he told a story about him and Toshak in the kitchen. They were talking about something, and Richie goes something. You don't even know what reality is, and Toshak goes on, reality? What that fucking thing on your head? Richie got up and left.
I got to tell you, my brother had a good offense, no defense. No defense.
Yeah. Richie was.
That place was tough. Words were the guys were tough over there. Funny and tough, man. Right?
When Phil first got there, Phil had a rug too. So it was Phil, him, and one other dude I think had a rug.
It was Lieutenant Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson had a rug. Phil had a rug. Timmy Walters had a rug.
Oh,
so we had like the most rugs in the battalion.
On the job. I think Bald wasn't in then. Wasn't in then, so everybody was hiding it, right?
But, with Timmy Walters' rug, he was down in the rat hole, and back. You know how things were in the firehouse, so he was down there sitting in a guy comes up from the basement, and he goes, "You got to go downstairs and see Timmy." So I go down. He's sitting on one of the stools, and they lifted up his rug and they put a paper towel here and put his rug back. So it looked like, those cartoon quails. And he had no idea it was there. I go into the TV room down there, and it's I almost fall to my knees laughing. And it's like, he goes, "Hey, Jimmy, how are you?" And it's like, I forgot something upstairs. I got to go back upstairs. I almost couldn't make it up the stairs. I was laughing so hard.
There were some funny guys over there, man.
Yeah.
Dude, there were funny guys there. I mean, all of those guys. I could think of so many names.
Yeah. Say
Johnny C, right?
Yeah.
House of Rugs.
Firing. Frats, Fratangelo.
Was it
Johnny?
I remember.
Yeah. Johnny Frats married the girl from the grocery store across the street.
Across the street. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, because the grocery store changed owners, and he would go over get the meal sometimes, and I guess he got friendly with the one girl working.
He was too nice for that place too. He was one of those guys. Too nice. Frats.
Yeah. Johnny was good people. So I mean, I think the whole thing with the firehouse is, I mean, there's got to be some people in the firehouse you may or may not get along with very well, but you still have to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can have like Toshak was very on the liberal side. He was very left. Phil Tefano was on uber right.
Oh my God.
They would be going at it back, but you're still working together, and there's you can't hate anybody because you got to rely on these guys to come and get you if you give them a day, or you need a hose line real quick. You have to be able to work with everybody and put that that crap to the side. Then when you get back to the firehouse, then you can start breaking balls again and arguing. Right. But when the job comes in, everybody's got to pull together. So.
Phil Tefano, self-proclaimed smartest man on the job, right?
That's right. That's right.
Oh
He was a
God.
teacher, wasn't he a school teacher?
He was he was interesting when he got to the firehouse. I'm he's one of the guys I really miss tremendously. He was a great character in the firehouse. I'm gonna go visit his his wife and his son. I'm going down to South Carolina to visit my son, so I usually try to stop by and say hello to them. But Phil, I remember, I think he just about got off probation, or maybe he was just still on probation. So I think he maybe still had the pumpkin patch on his helmet. And I'm sitting in the kitchen table. He comes in from the apparatus floor, and he has this like skull and crossbones decal on his helmet. And I'm looking at him and I go, Bill, let me ask you something. You think you have enough time on a job and enough experience to put that shit on your helmet to make it look salty? Yeah. And he's like, puts his head down and he goes like, no, he takes it off. So, but
Didn't he climb up the?
Yes, he did.
117th escape. I was at that job. I seen him climbing up the escape ladder. Yeah,
with the roof saw. He had the roof saw, and there are pictures of that somewhere on the job. They have pictures of him going up. So I think Lieutenant Dan had some words with him after that. I think.
Yeah.
that might be. I think I remember a guy saying that might be a never. There's only a few nevers, and that might be one.
Yeah. And what is it? That's the emergency escape ladder. Emergency. Right. It has to be an emergency, and
all the time.
And you're going down. You're not going up to the bucket with equipment. So, but his thinking outside the box wasn't the right outside the box thinking. So.
Yeah, he made it to chief, right?
Oh yeah. He was a really smart guy.
Right.
Self-proclaimed smartest guy in the firehouse, but
on the job.
On the job, but
he took care of me. Philly took care of me when I was getting out. He took care of me, man.
Yeah,
he really did.
Good people.
That was a shame.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to tell the story about the plaque now.
Oh, the plaque. The plaque is awesome.
288 has a yellow gold back plaque with silver chrome 288 on it. We go to a job one day over by 154.
That came off the building. That used to be on the building.
Yeah.
That was on the. It used to be on the front bumper of their rig, right?
Of 288's old rig, just the 288. But P.D. Brennan made it into the squad plaque. We go to this job by 154. We come back. We notice, Jesus, the plaque is gone. Somebody took the plaque. Now, mind you, I saw Ferring and Phil in plain clothes. They must have been buffing the job. So right away, my antennas go up. I'm like, those motherfuckers.
Why was that?
I don't know. So plaque is missing. We don't know where it goes. I'm like, I got to say, 8 months later, maybe? We start getting, there it is, the 288.
Yep, there it is.
Grill.
On the grill.
We start getting postcards from the plaque. And now it's wherever these guys are taking it, they could be in Disney, they could be in Germany. And the plaque is in front of their face, and they're saying, "Hey, it's me, the plaque. I'm in Jersey, having a great time. Miss you. See you soon.
Wish you were here.
Yeah, Wish you were here." And it travels all over the world. The plaque.
I think it went to Japan.
Probably.
I think it went to I know it went to Canada and Cape Cod.
Yeah,
and then
it was definitely in Disney.
Yeah, and
it was definitely Disney. But the best part is how they wrote the postcard. "Hey, it's me, the plaque. Really miss you. See you soon. We'll be home soon."
And I think there were a few phone calls too that were made.
Yes. Hi, I'm the plaque. I miss you guys. See you soon. About
Hi, I'm the plaque.
A couple of months after that, we get a knock on the door. Open the door, and there's the plaque.
There it is.
I guess they're done with it. Put it back on the rig. A couple of weeks later now, another knock on the door, and there's like a envelope in there, and in it is a picture of something that resembles a woman. It resembles a woman because it's got her toenails are polished, and she's urinating in the shower on the plaque. Like these guys, bro.
We were all like this. We were like, "Oh, that's might be pushing it a little too far."
That was the worst part of its vacation.
Yeah. So Neary calls there. Matt Neary calls over there, and he asks for the senior man. He goes, "Guys, that was a great. You guys were so funny with that." He says the only sad part is one of you guys is probably banging that behemoth that was put on the
He did say something like that. I remember.
Oh man!
I remember him talking about the feet. He was like,
they look like
feet.
Yeah.
But then after that, we definitely had like a good rivalry going with 154. Like a little bit here and there, and then like whatever we were doing, they would chirp us on the radio. We would do something to them, like whatever we were doing. And then what happened, Coops, at the airport? We had to run. We had to run to the airport.
Yeah.
We
got stuck.
Right. You remember that?
There's no pictures of that.
We got. I was going to ask you that wasn't you driving, right?
No, that was. It wasn't that. Yeah, I just saw pictures of that. I think I came in like one or two.
So I forget what they did. They tried to cut across like one of the fields or something by the airport.
Yeah.
By LaGuardia, and they were stuck to the chassis, like it was deep, and they couldn't get out. Yep. I think they end up having the sanitation, the plow guys or something come get them. So on Garrow, who always had his camera with him all the time, Lieutenant Garrow started like snapping pictures of the rig in the thing, and then we started sending them. Yeah, we started sending them pictures, and then I think after that it kind of dropped up a little bit, but it was always good fun, man.
There was another time, another Neary story. You gotta love it. You know what's gonna involve. He's working at the rescue school down at Randall's Island, and who does he see? 154's rig there. They must have been doing some kind of training, right? He goes in and takes a giant shit in a coffee can and puts it on the engine compartment of 154's rig. He said it was like 90 degrees too, bro, out that day.
I remember that.
I never heard. That's the first time I'm hearing
that.
Yeah. I guess the guys who were working that they kept that on the down low.
Probably.
Who was the funniest guy in the firehouse, Jim?
I would probably say like Steve Ferring.
Ferring, right? It had to be Ferring, man.
Steve. it was always fun. You know, when him and Glenn Berube got together.
And Glenn Berube.
Him and Glenn Berube they were like, it was like a tornado in the firehouse. It was just so much fun. So
now
go through the names here. Who's from the?
Yeah, good.
He got
Big Philly right there in the middle. Big Philly,
John Napolitano,
Shelley
Barocas. I'm not sure the guy on the far right. He wasn't at the house that long, but his trying to think what his nickname was.
Had to have one.
Was it Hairbag?
No, he said it was something like he was always like nah. So I think his nickname was Nah.
Bill Hill.
Nah.
Wow. What's the guy's name all the way on the left, Jim? What's his name? I see him all the time. I can never remember.
George Fabrel.
The guy with his George
cross arms. Yeah.
George he was in 307 the whole time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The ladies' man.
Keith. Yep. Keith O'Connor next to him. Charlie Hoffman behind the pennant, and Steve Carbone up on the back step.
He was there a long time too, right? Carbone.
Yep. Charlie Hoffman,
I remember.
Phil and John and Shelley are no longer with us. So
yeah. So Nappy came from 140 to 154, right?
Yes.
And then he went to Rescue 2.
Yep.
I think he was driving. Who was he driving that got him over to 2? He was driving the commissioner or somebody. I don't remember.
It could have been chief of department or maybe the commissioner. I don't know. He was driving something.
I think.
Don't hurt.
Yeah. No.
So he got over there and
died on
9/11 happened and that was it. So
he was a really.
I still have.
All right, so let's talk
about.
He
would get. John would get the house. He was a volley out in
Hopog. Or somewhere.
I think it was Lake.
Lakeland.
Near Lake Ronkonkoma or something.
Lake Ronkonkoma or
somewhere around there.
Lakeland.
He would get the good flashlights for us. So I still have the flashlight that he got for me.
Do you?
Yeah, I just sentimental thing. It's just a way of remembering him a little bit.
Right.
When it's out in my shed now.
What was it like working with Richie Schmidt?
Richie Schmidt was his first job. He really wasn't even working. We were having a company meeting at the Change of Tours, like 6 at night or whatever. We got the bakery diagonally across the street from the firehouse on 81st Street, and he just got to the company, and I think his first tour was like 1 or 2 days after this happened. But I pull the rig out of quarters, and I bring it up to the bakery. I put the stick up to the roof, and I'm on the pedestal. And Richie's below the pedestal on the street with a Halligan and a maul or an axe or something. He goes, "How many stores do you want me to open up? How many stores do you want me to open up?" And I said, "Oh, just go down 2 or 3 stores, open them up." And he freaking, the guy's a machine.
He's got gigantic hands, right? I mean,
and he's probably one of the strongest guys I've ever known in my life. If he worked out legitimately, he'd be phenomenal.
He used to bust my brother's balls. My brother being there working out, maybe with 2 plates on benching. He'd come in, he goes, "What are you doing, Rich?" "I'm working out." "Put a couple more plates on there." Put a couple more plates on. He go, "Pop, pop, 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 pop," and walk out. Do one of these.
He told me once that when he was he was a builder. He used to do contracting work and stuff like that. So when he was doing roofs, he used to have a competition with one of his partners to see how many bundles of shingles he could bring up to the roof at one time. He'd bring up 4. They're 80-pound bundles. So you put 2 bundles on each shoulder and just go up the ladder. Wow. And when the iron bars on the windows, he would sometimes just go up to him and just pull him off the window. We'll put his legs up on the wall and just pull him right off. Hinge him and toss him over. Guy was, he's a super fireman. That's the only way you can describe him. He's like, in Lieutenant Dan Buckite's class of firemen. Super fireman. So
he went. A lot of guys went to Rescue 4, right? Charlie Weeman.
Yeah, Charlie Weeman went to Rescue 4. One of the guys in my first class in Probie school that I taught, he's over there now. Shoemaker. I don't know if you know him. His father was on the job too.
Shoe. His father was the Shoe.
Yep.
Oh, the Shoe. We know the Shoe.
We call him We call him Jason Shoemaker. We called him Willie Shoemaker for the
Willie Shoemaker.
Jockey.
But the Shoe was in 252, right, Ruff?
What's that?
I don't know where his father. I don't know where his
Shoe
father
was in 252.
And then
I don't know.
So we had 4 guys go up to Rescue 3. Tommy Fredette.
Tommy Fredette.
Bobby Anderson went up there. Danny Barry went up there, and
Bobby Anderson! Holy shit, man! I forgot.
Scott Maxwell. Scott Maxwell went up there.
Scotty Maxwell. Yeah.
So
it's like the breeding ground for rescues over there.
Rescue and a lot of, I think
Baruby too.
Baruby, yeah. He went to. Did he go to Rescue 1?
One,
yeah.
Mo. He used to call everybody Mo. What's up, Mo? Mo.
That's Richie Schmidt's thing. He calls everybody Mo also.
Yeah.
So, I said we had a lot of the three of the 4 chiefs in the 4-9 battalion from 154. So it's
Bobby Anderson's still on the job, or is he off?
Let's see, when did I see him last?
I think he's still working.
I saw him at the Centennial. So I don't know if he's working or not.
How long ago was the Centennial?
What was the date on it? It was in February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had a good turnout. It's like at the house, there's like 200 people, dignitaries, and a lot of retired guys showed up. And then we had the party over at the Plattdeutsch over in Floor Park.
Yeah, man. The Plattdeutsch.
Yeah, so that was a fun time. So it was good to see.
Did you see Johnny C? Was Johnny C there? I'm
trying to think. I think, yeah. I know he was at the firehouse. He was at the ceremony at the firehouse. But there's just so many people there. You try to talk to.
Yeah. He was a good guy, man. Johnny C. Calderon.
Little Caco. That was his. Because he worked in the house over in Flushing. I'm not sure if it was 129, the ladder or the engine over there.
I think it was 129.
Yeah, they had a guy that was.
And then he went to 146. He got promoted. He went.
Yeah, they had a guy over there named Big Caco, so they named him Little Caco. He was short.
Lieutenant Dan says it was a drill at 2 p.m. He was reporting from Probie school. I think he's talking about.
Yeah, I said a lot of.
How many captains?
Oh, captains.
How many captains did you go through?
7.
7.
Wow.
Yeah, Cacharo.
Cacharo
was my first. And Kenny Zeisel. Kenny Zeisel was. They kind of screwed him around because he got hurt in a job, I guess, when he was a lieutenant years ago, and his back was giving him. He actually went to the hospital. He went to the emergency room one night from when he was at home. His back seized up, and he couldn't. I guess whatever nerve that was going through the vertebrae that helped him breathe kind of seized up. So he was. I think they had him on a resuscitator for a little while. They wouldn't give him 3/4. I would drive the guy down. We're going to a box, and and you see a bump coming up or a pothole coming up. He would like hold the front dashboard and hold the side over here, and
he's bracing.
I was afraid I was gonna paralyze the guy. He hit the bump too hard. I would go, like the speed you normally come back from a job or a box from. That's how I would drive to the box when he was working. Because I was afraid I was going to do something to his back if we hit anything too hard. So he was a good boss. I'd say we had a lot of good captains come through.
You had Pfeiffer in the engine, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. He was. I was in Probie school. He was in my Probie class. Good old little Joe Pfeiffer.
What did my brother used to call him? My brother had a nickname for him too. I can't remember.
I remember. When he got promoted to he bounced through a house when he got promoted to lieutenant. And we had a guy, Phil Kelly, came in a few years before me. I was at house watching. He was working in the truck for the day tour. So he was up in the officer's seat doing whatever he was doing up there. Phil Kelly comes into the firehouse and looks at the truck and starts laughing. Said, "Who brought their kid to work?" It looked like somebody brought their kid to work. He was sitting, it was funny. So yeah, then he got, I guess, promoted to captain, and he got to spot in the engine eventually. So he definitely liked the MS.
Yeah.
Earned money sleeping.
Yeah. So, well, we built the. He's not in that picture.
That's Fabrel.
Yeah. So the guy on the very.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back to that.
Yeah,
Harry Carson there, right?
Harry Carson from the Giants.
Big dude.
He would stop it. You bring his son once in a while to say hello. No. Let's see, is that
did he live nearby or something, or he just?
I lived in New Jersey.
Did he just pick your firehouse?
Yeah, and he he could probably afford any car he wanted, and he used to come by in like a Jeep Cherokee all the time. So yeah, it's Johnny Fratz in the middle, the short guy in the middle.
Yeah, I see Fratz. That's Abamonte there, right? Abadaba.
Yep.
I didn't know he was over there.
Yeah. And Brian Deary on the far right, he just got promoted to deputy chief.
So Fabrel's
that Charlie Bruno in the back peeking?
Yeah, Fabrel's on the far left, far right, excuse me. Charlie Bruno's behind him. Toshak's behind Harry Carson. Jimmy Brooks is between the guy to the left of Jimmy Brooks. I think he was from 316. I think that's Joe Dunleavy behind Fratz, just seeing the eyes and top of the nose. It looks like Buddha. And I don't remember the name of the guy that's between Abamonte and right behind Abamonte. I'll have to look that name up.
And a couple guys here, just some newer picture. This is another day, the same day.
Yeah, same guys, different pose.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, to make sure I didn't forget these are too late.
There's another one.
That one?
Yep.
You there, Coops?
That's the Shmoo right in the middle.
The Shmoo. Yep. He came in. He got to the house. They had that thing going on where if a Probie went to a slow house, and there was a senior guy in another house that was thinking about transferring, he could bump. They could switch.
I remember that for 90 days or something.
90 days, and that's how he got Bob Montgomery from the engine. He went over to college Whitestone. Excuse me, the house in Whitestone.
295.
So that's how we got the
Shmoo.
Dude, that was the sickest story I ever heard guys do to somebody, what they did to the Shmoo with the can at that time.
What they do?
So there was something with the can. I was hoping you had all the facts, because I remember hearing it kind of like third hand.
Yeah.
Something where he had the can. You remember they used to have the can that used to flip down, right? You guys had the can that flipped down, right?
Yep.
Like that, right?
On the outside of the rig.
Outside. Yeah. So he did something. I think there was like a strap or something that you had to do to lock it in, and he forgot to do it. I don't remember exactly how, but there was something where he forgot to do something to keep it from falling out.
Right.
So supposedly what the guys did was they saw a cop or something down the road, like a couple streets down, and they said to the guy, take this can and walk it up, say that the can flew off the rig and hit somebody, and that the girl is like in the hospital or something, right? So they do this, and the cop comes up, and he has to come running out to the that the ball calls him and says, that they're not sure what's happening to the girl. And again, I don't know all the story. What's happening?
Oh,
wow!
It's cheap.
Did I lose you guys? Oh,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we lost
me?
you. You're back.
So you're going to have to go upstairs. You're off duty now. You got to go upstairs, get in your Class A's, and then the chief is going to call you on the house watch. So this poor bastard, he thinks like he's killed somebody or to death. He goes upstairs, gets in his Class A's, comes back down, supposedly sitting in the house watch. Like he's almost like he thinks his job is gone. It's, you know, he's tearing up or something like that. It's just like, it was horrible for the guy. You know what I mean? And they let him go for a while. And then I think they called him on the phone or something and let him off. And I remember when I heard that, I'm like, holy shit, man.
Those guys will go through the streets.
I guess they'll never forget to lock them. Yeah.
Tough kitchen, tough. Yeah, well, that's the ball breaking that went on in the house, you know.
Were you part of the thing that
that's how I remember that guy.
Were you part of the thing that they did with my brother's Cadillac? You know, he had the big yellow Cadillac.
Oh yeah, I hit that with the truck.
Oh, did you? No, what they did to him with his window? Were you there that time?
I don't think so.
We used to park in the 14th division had the bay next to it.
Oh yeah, yep.
So my brother, when he was a senior guy, thought he was whatever. He would park his yellow Cadillac in there. So they go in there one day, they roll down the window of the Cadillac and take a bunch of glass and they throw it on the seat like it's like his window broke.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's coming back. Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is? I think they moved it out of there first and moved it onto the sidewalk outside, and then they did it. So he was pissed that his car was out, and they thought somebody broke the window. He brought it to the glass place. The guy goes, "Something wrong with this." The window goes up.
Talk about stretching out a joke, man.
Yeah, I clipped the front bumper, the driver's side front bumper, while I was coming up 82nd Street, making a turn onto Northern, and he was parked tight to the corner, and I just put a nice little wrinkle in the bumper.
Oh no!
The house took care of it. You know, we laid out for the body work and all that stuff like that. He was. I think to the day he died, he was still pissed at me. So, that was his baby.
Oh, big yellow, looking like a pimp's car.
The yellow banana.
The yellow banana.
Where is that car, Coobs?
My father took it.
Sold it, or
what happened was my father took it from Richie, and then when my dad died, Richie took it back. And I don't know what the hell happened after that, man. I don't know who got it. But I had to drive that car home many a time when my father was in the cups. I used to have to drive that car with him in it.
You talk about, was it a Cadillac? What kind of car was it?
Cadillac. Yeah.
It's huge.
What year was it?
It's a boat.
Was it a Coupe de Ville? It was a Coupe de Ville, right?
Coupe. Yeah, Cadillac.
Probably like
nice
80s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s.
No, it was a little older than it. It was a little newer than that, like
mid 80s.
Yeah, it was an 80
mid-80s.
something. It was an 80 something car.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, the rug.
A lot of stories.
So many stories. So I ask you, did you ever have an oh shit moment where you thought you were going to buy it at a job?
Keeps cutting me off, that Kubla.
Your internet's going in and out.
Yeah, your shit's a little wacky today.
You ever have a job where you thought you were going to buy it?
Probably there was like 3 jobs that I came. Probably I would say I came close. So the first one was I think I was just off of probation. We had a job down 94th Street and 37th Avenue. It was Sunday morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was a weird setup because we came down 94th Street, so that was the entrance to the place was on the diagonal. So there was like a nightclub in behind all these little row of stores on the street side and the avenue side. And what happened? I think it was a backdraft, but the Lieutenant Buckeye thinks it was a cockloft explosion. But it was the first time that I actually thought somebody from the company died at a fire. We get down almost to 37. There's smoke going across. The guy who was driving our rig was from Rescue 4, so he put the stick up. One story taxpayer put the stick up. Norman Sabisi went up on the roof. Huey Doherty was the OV. He got around to the rear. Lieutenant Donatelli, me, and Georgie Call were the forcible entry team. So we started to open up the stores and we get to about the third roll up, and this is what was kind of weird about it. Georgie asked me later on. Basically, something happened, and I guess we all noticed it at the same time, and we turned around and started going for the street, and the building blew up. So I remember it picked me up, and I was between two parked cars. And when I hit the ground, I figured I'd get, and that my head was in like a fireball. And I remember like hearing stuff go past my ears, and you see like a rock in the stream, how the current goes around the rock in the stream. The flames were actually going around my head like that.
Good, that's a good way to describe it.
And I hit the street, and I'm on my knees and elbows, and I want to go to the cars to protect, but the flames were going underneath the cars. So I just kept going.
No way.
Yeah, the flames were underneath the cars, going about 5 feet out past the cars into the middle of the street. So I just kept going, and when I turned around, the roof was on fire. And guys from 138, I think they may have gone up our aerial or got put up by the bucket, but I remember seeing them silhouetted against the flames coming back to our aerial to get off the roof. And so our roofman Norman was up there, and that was before we all had radios. So I yelled over to Lieutenant Donatelli, check on Norman, call Norman. And I think he tried getting in touch with him like twice and didn't answer. Third time he answered. And after the whole thing was over, he said that he was going to vent the skylight, and guys from 138 were coming up, and he said, stay at the parapet. And then he vented the skylight, and instead of the shit coming out, it sucked in. And he dropped his tools, and he went to the next parapet, to the next building, and the building blew up, and it sent him across to the next building. Wow. So, and Georgie Call asked me later, he says, how do you know how to turn, to turn around? Because nobody said anything. It's just, hand to God, just, you guys turn around so you don't get hurt. But the guy from rescue, I found out later, he was looking down at us when the building blew up, and he thought we were dead because we just got engulfed by a fireball coming out of the taxpayers. So that was his last fire he went to. He put his paper in after that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he goes
through this shit.
Yeah, he's done. So he had well over 20 years on the job. So he said, "That's it, I'm done.
I'm out."
So
that'll do it.
Yeah. So I was, I had like a sunburn on my face. We weren't wearing, we had the mask on, but we didn't have the face pieces on our face. But that was a fun job. And we got to use the only time in my career that we actually set up the ladder pipe and used the ladder pipe.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
We put it, we turned it, we retracted it all the way, put the ladder pipe on, we turned it to the building, went right into the taxpayer with it, and then extended it to the back and opened up the line. So it was that was an interesting experience.
What about 103 and 34? Do you remember that job?
What was that?
Daniel Buckeye says 103 and 34.
103rd Street between Northern and 34th Avenue.
Yeah. That was the job I gave my first Mayday at. So Duray Smith from 136. You know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. He fell through an air and light shaft.
I was at that job. Yeah.
Yeah. So that where the shaft was, there was not even, if it was just like the tar from the roof just kind of came up to the hole. There was no parapet around that shaft way. And the way the buildings were set up, the fire building had like a garage in the back that all the cars were on fire. So there was a lot of smoke, and the wind was blowing from like Northern Boulevard to 3-4 Avenue, and exposure. Let's see what exposure 3. Oh no, it's exposure 2. It would be 2A, 2B. I forgot how the exposures go. It's been a while, but we were on a 2-story, The building next to that one was a 3-story. So the smoke was coming up off the job. The wind was taking it to that 3-story, and it was just circulating back on the roof. And basically, I was on with Bobby Whalen was the roof man, so I was up between a vented skylight and a scuttle, and we were cutting a hole between those two. And I guess the back of that building started to come down, so we all left the roof. And everybody basically went to that 3-story building, because I had the aerial right up, so the 3-story building was here, the 2-story was here. I had the aerial right up next to that 3-story building. And so the guys from 136 went there, and Duray Smith just followed the 3-story building to the aerial, went right down the hole. So
he's lucky he didn't die. He broke both of his legs, but he didn't die.
Well, he shattered both of his heels, I think, were screwed up. But that's right when we changed the Mayday procedure. You do the Mayday, a lot of 154 Chauffeur to command Mayday. That I did that 3 times and nobody answered me. That's before we had the new radios with the
alert button.
So I gave it 3 times and nobody answered me. So I figured, okay, I'm going to go down. I'll get the roof rope. We'll send somebody down the shaft to help him out. And I get to the aerial. There's a battalion chief and an aide right below the aerial. And I'm yelling at the guy. And nobody's looking up. So I have my Halligan in my hand. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to drop the Halligan right next to these guys to get their attention. And then the aide finally looked up. And I think it was either rescue or squad, I think, went in to get him out of the shaft, right?
I found him in the shaft. And then Nicky Corrado and Chris Carangi came in with Matt Corliss, and we got him out of the shaft.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was you guys or Rescue 4, but you guys got him out, and so that was I don't know how he didn't get hurt more.
I don't know how he didn't get killed. He took a big
because there was a lot.
He landed on his feet.
Yeah, there was a lot of junk on that shaft too. When he had his mask on,
Yep.
I actually that was the only job I went to. That I was on the roof that I went through a whole bottle of air. So completely drink my bottle up on that.
I think
roof.
Jimmy Mesmer was our roof man. Jimmy.
So,
Jimmy Mesmer.
Because I remember pulling down that coming off at 3-4 heading toward Northern, and you couldn't see in front of the rig. Eventually I had to creep into the smoke, and eventually I saw the rear 316. They were the first 2 engine there. So that was a good job. And I think the way the building was set up, they kind of messed up on the exposures. Like when we first got there, everybody knew, the 2-story and the 1-story were the same building. But I think when command got there, they thought the 1-story part of the building was a separate building. So they kind of messed the exposures up a little bit, confused some people, but that was an interesting job. It was middle of the day too.
Yep.
So
you never had an inkling to go to a rescue?
What is that?
Never had the inkling to go to a rescue? Never wanted to?
Yeah, I kind of wanted it once. The guy, I got over it. No.
Did you ever want to study?
I actually took. I think I took 2 lieutenant. I did the whole the fire tech thing. I did really well. All the practice tests they give you at fire tech. Yeah, I was getting in the 90s, high 90s on it. When it came to the real deal, I
froze up a little bit.
I don't know. It just whatever in my head just left. So
he did a Swanee River, Ed Norton.
I think God puts you where He wants you, and God didn't want me to get promoted to lieutenant. And like the first lieutenant's exam, I needed. That was the exam where they had like 18 double answers.
Yeah, 16 double answers. Yeah,
or whatever it was, and there was like.
And you didn't get any.
I didn't get any of them.
Nice.
I needed like 3, and I would have passed.
Who said it? Bobby Austin said the same thing last week.
Yeah, but my wife goes, maybe that's you're lucky because if you got promoted and wherever you would land
you
up,
could be anyway.
9/11 happened, and I could have been in a Brooklyn house or Manhattan house, and maybe not be here.
Absolutely.
So,
same thing if you would have went to rescue. Same thing could happen.
Yep. Yeah.
So you were.
Hey, listen, there's another fire. Lieutenant Buckeye saying another fire, 8-4 in Northern. Jim got dog bit.
Oh yeah. That was interesting. Yeah, it was just an MD, the 6-story MD right down the road from the firehouse. I had the OV, and I think it was the second floor, the apartment on the second floor. I got to the rear, and it was the summertime, so the windows were open in the apartment. There was a cat and a puppy on the windowsill, and smoke was coming out of the window and everything like that. And I hear him forcing the door on the inside, and the nozzle, the engine comes in. I hear him bleed the nozzle, and he opens the nozzle, and the cat and the dog fly out, and they push him out off the windowsill. The cat hits the ground, runs. The dog, it was kind of right below the entrance to the basement. They had a railing, and the top of the railing had
the railing
wrought iron spikes. The dog landed, like the rear leg of the dog landed on the spike. So I went to pick the dog up off the spike, and it just turned around and lopped onto my hand. And so I had to go to the medical unit to get tetanus shots. Not tetanus, the rabies shots. That was fun.
Could have been worse. You could have been the dog.
Yeah,
on the fence, right?
Yeah, the dog. They put the dog down. They took it. Somebody. It was like 6 months old, and not even that. So, but that was a fun. They picked me right on my good thumb. Actually, I think.
Son of a bitch! He got you on the good thumb. He couldn't even get you on the meaty thumb, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it was. Yeah, that's it. A lot of interesting jobs. Let's say the second job was, I think, 2006. There was a big Collier. They don't call them Collier's Mansions anymore, right? There's that's
clutter or something or other.
Yeah. So
heavy
but
clutter.
This was over in Woodside or Long Island. It was Woodside. It was right off of
Queens Boulevard.
Queens Boulevard. It was. I think it went to like a third or fourth along.
And 43rd.
Yeah. So
the smoke was back down to the lobby. That one.
And literally the only part of that apartment that didn't have junk in it was where the front door swung open.
I was at that job too, man.
All right. So that's where I got. I made the close call list, the national close call list on that job. The 163 had their bucket up to the window of whatever wound up being the kitchen. We didn't know it was the kitchen. So they were rotating guys into the bucket, and there was a portable ladder next to the bucket, so they wouldn't have to move the bucket up and down. So, and then there was a wall next to where the portable ladder was. So our crew's in the bucket, and we rotate 2 guys into the window, and we just start shoveling shit out the window. And then it got to the point where it's like an angle going up to the ceiling, and now this looks like the top of kitchen cabinets. So we're working our way down. Eventually we get to where the door is, and we get to the top of the door, and now we start getting smoke and fire coming in. So we rotate out, and it's like, all right, let's, we should probably get a line up here. So one guy goes off to the portable ladder, then I go off to the portable ladder. I'm coming down the portable ladder. John Diatoma, every time he saw me after this job, because he said he wished he had a video camera to videotape it. He always gave me a hug. He goes, I thought you were going to die. So I'm coming down the portable ladder, and I just noticed some movement right over here. And then all of a sudden, the bottom of the towel ladder basket hits me on the head and drives my head into the wall over here.
Oh my God, dude. I never heard this story.
And I actually had to hold the portable ladder and squeeze my head out of the helmet. And I get down to the ground, and it's like my head's pound, like I get hit by a towel out of basket, and I'm holding my head like that. And I have blood on both pairs of gloves, and my helmet wound up on the building. They had to go up and pull my helmet off the building.
Was it this helmet?
No, the
one of the
did
newer
you guys,
ones.
Yeah, did you guys get the pictures of? I sent 3 pictures of a picture of my 3 helmets the other day.
I didn't get that one.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think
So this is the one with the impact liner, and the safety confiscated it. So I had to go get a brain scan. Not a brain scan. They X-rayed my head.
So he just stopped in time.
I
mean, he just stopped in time. Is that what happened, or what? Were people yelling? Like, what? Do you remember? You don't remember anything like that?
The chauffeur on the turntable was talking with somebody down on the street, so he didn't see it. There was a tree that was.
The guys were in the bucket.
I think the boom actually got stopped a little bit on the tree. That was at the curb, but supposedly the lanyard for the lieutenant's flashlight was tangled with the
joystick,
the trigger stick, and that moved. But I don't believe that. So, but and I'm not.
Wow,
not gonna
that's close.
Yeah. So that actually, they have the line of duty book that comes out every year for everybody who dies on the line of duty. They have a close call book, and I'd say I made that. So,
well, that was to make the line of duty one. We're glad you're here.
Yeah. Yes. So John Diatoma. So every time I saw John Diatoma, he'd come up and give me a big hug because it was like
I think they wound up actually breaching a wall to put that fire out, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I remember they tried breaching the ceiling, the floor of the apartment above, and they pulled that, and that was junk all the way up to the ceiling, and then they tried breaching a wall, and it was a wall of junk in front of them.
Yeah, I've never seen an apartment that had that. That wasn't even Collie's mansion. That was floor to ceiling junk everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they had like 3 or 4 40-yard dumpsters.
Fucking hoarder.
They moved the debris out of the place.
I'm not kidding you. The smoke was banked down to the lobby. Like banked down to the lobby.
Didn't the battalion chief try to do that pressurized thing with the fans?
Oh, I don't remember that. Maybe.
Because I remember every time the fans got engaged, it got worse.
Yeah.
It didn't really work.
I was working with Evans that day.
Evans
will remember that.
Yeah, that was an interesting job. I got the helmet. The helmet was in custody of the safety battalion till about 5 years ago, and then one of the later, I became a peer with the counseling service unit. One of the chiefs that worked down there is a peer counselor, and I gave him the information, and
he retrieved it for you.
He's like, "Oh yeah, it's been in this box for 20 some odd years, or whatever." So,
you still do the peer counseling?
Oh yeah.
Dude, we're gonna do a show from Friends of Firefighters on mental health again.
Yeah, that's Casey Politi actually got me. You work with Casey Politi, right? Right, Louis?
Yeah, he was a captain in 103. Yeah.
Yeah, he got me into it. I got invited to the counseling service unit puts on the breakfast every the second Tuesday of the month.
I see that. I get that email.
And I went, and it was a great time. So I figured, I know Casey, I know a few of the other guys. So I went, the next time I went early to help cook, and I just kept going. I was part of the cooking crew, and Casey got me into the peer counseling, and it saved my retirement. I was, the first year I retired really was
tough.
Really
tough. Yeah.
Because you go from the firehouse to what do I do now? And it's just, it kind of, I was drinking a lot. It was, there was a guy in my hunting club he retired from the city PD. He did like 38, 40 years. And he asked me how my retirement was. And I was like, and he goes, "You feel lost, don't you?" And I go, yeah. So, I became a peer counselor. It's, we go around, we talk about certain things, Yeah, every few months there's a certain, like, suicide's a big thing. There'll be, it's always the alcohol or drug addiction and all that stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be my firehouse. It's any firehouse. I'm sitting around a kitchen table, having a cup of coffee, talking with the brothers. And that's when you retire, that's really what you miss.
Yep.
You don't miss the commuting back and forth to the firehouse. You don't miss the manhole covers that you got to sit in the middle of the winter for hours.
Yeah,
I don't miss that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you really miss, right there. Let me ask you a question. Do you have the dream that everybody has?
You
get a run and you can't find your bunker gear?
Absolutely.
Holy, another guy.
Or your helmet's missing.
Yes.
Or like, where the hell my helmet?
You're just delayed. You're delayed.
Pulling out the door, and
oh my God, I can't tell you how many retired guys have that dream, man.
We talk about that at the retired guys breakfast. Almost every single person's had that dream.
Holy, I gotta look into this. I gotta look into this. I'm gonna have to get.
You haven't had that dream yet, Coops?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I still have
Jimmy, I was just going to say that when I was in the firehouse, like the last couple of years, they had started with the counseling unit guys, coming to the firehouse, like you just said, like coming to the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always cool to know, like, that, a lot of times in the middle of the day, or you had stuff going on, or you're running around and doing all this shit, you want to go to fire, you didn't want to sit and have to talk about that.
Yeah.
But when the guys came up and they were from the job, right? Whether you knew the guys or you didn't know the guys, but if they were from the job, they knew the deal. It was cut to the chase. Everybody good. If anybody, reached out to them, here's my card, one of those things. I'm sure, every once in a while you get somebody where, you really feel like this guy needs to talk to somebody. But
yeah,
I always felt like that was a big thing, is to have the guys from the job do that, because it just smooth out the rough edges there, if that makes any sense.
Guys feel comfortable.
Right.
For me, what's great, my time on the job, I know a lot of the senior guys, or
right, and everybody, right.
The guys who are chiefs now, or captains of houses, and my last 3 years on the job, I taught 7 proby classes, so almost every single firehouse I go to, you're my instructor in proby school, something like that. It's so there's a connection, so it helps a lot, and I think the old school guys that like broke me in, it was just like like my father, World War II vet, you just
Suck
get
it
over it.
Up.
Yeah, that's it. But now, I think now it kind of started after the Happy Lands fire up in the Bronx. The guys were crawling over bodies.
87.
Or
89, 87, 89.
It was, and Lieutenant Dan was up there for that. I think he was in 292, and they called 292 up there to help remove a lot of the bodies. And he was telling stories going back to the firehouses that guys were they were crying. They were all shook up from being exposed to that much death, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I think that's kind of when the counseling service unit started, and then it started really, rolling after 9/11 happened. So,
who was that Irish guy who was in charge of the counseling? He was a long time ago. It was one guy. He had an Irish name, for crying out loud. I can't.
That was probably before my time. So, so I got in. Let's see, I retired in 2016, so probably I got into the counseling unit
like a Malachi or something like that. His name was Maliki. I think that was his name.
Maliki could be.
Maliki, yeah. He was like, there was only one guy, the whole counseling unit, one guy. Now look out where it is now, because we need it,
Oh yeah, it's the big thing. Just not to dwell on it a lot, but the big thing with the fire department is nationwide. They did a study, the top 10 fire departments in the country. They looked at their records, their line of duty deaths compared to suicides in the department, and it's for every one line of duty, there's 3 suicides.
Really?
Suicides is actually taking more of us out than line of duty jobs. So that's like a big thing we go and talk. It sucks talking about it, but there's a few guys that since I've been doing this have actually killed themselves. It fucks the house up. So we talk about things on how to maybe recognize maybe something's happening to one of your brothers. So basically almost every firehouse we go to, we talk about that, and then we start talking about fun stuff after that. But it's kind of depressing, but that's something that we do as peer counselors, and hopefully it helps. So
just having a general conversation helps, man, when you're not threatened.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Yep.
Don't make it official and formal. Just kind of create a conversation. Just shoot the shit, man. Yep. It does help.
I use these two idiots over here.
Yeah, but I go out with Casey and one or two other guys. We all sit at different parts of the kitchen, and sometimes we're done. We'll see you guys later. Have good lunch or whatever. And you get out onto the apparatus floor, and somebody will come over and tap you on the shoulder. Can I talk to you for a second? Because they got they may have, it may be an inconsequential problem, but to them it's big.
Right.
So it's beneficial to everybody. So
the guy's name was Malachi Corrigan, if you remember him. I knew it was an Irish name.
Yeah, no, I say it was way before my time.
No, because he was there when we first started. So the counseling unit was nothing. It was this guy and a couple other people. That was it. Now thank God it's what it is today.
And, Drew Kane is in charge of it now, so he's doing well at it. It's a tough job. He gets the guys who run this thing. I mean, they get phone calls, 40 phone calls a day sometimes. Because the guys from my firehouse call me sometimes, and with whatever, and I'll have to call him to say. A lot of times it's just talking with somebody. I see one guy for lunch every once in a while. We talk about shit that's going on with him, and it helps. So it's a good, it keeps me connected to the job, which is nice.
You sitting at those kitchen tables,
good, right?
drinking coffees.
Yeah. And having a coffee at the kitchen table is like the best. That's the best therapy for me.
You don't realize how helpful that is.
Having shit coffee at the kitchen table.
Yeah, that works. I went into a house one time, and they had, it's like almost like the bottom third of the coffee pot was probably on since we got that. And the guy was like, and I go, don't throw that out.
I love tar.
I love tar.
Brings back grounds.
Brings back memories of the worst coffee ever on the job.
Yep.
But we're gonna get to the bottom of that dream, Ruffy. We're gonna get to the bottom of why guys are dreaming that.
Was it this one?
That's exactly what it looked like.
That's exactly it. Are you shitting me? I pulled the right one.
It had a saddle brown interior, but that's what it looked like.
Yep.
Holy shit! Because I thought it was this one, but I was like, no.
Actually, go back to that one. That's the one it looks like.
Yeah.
Because then there was there was this one. I was like, man, which fucking car is it? My father had this one.
Oh,
look at the front of that car.
The tanks, bro. These things, man.
Yep.
We cut up a few of them every once in a while, man.
Like a dream boat, baby.
Sorry.
When me and Kev started driving, Kevin was driving his brother-in-law's car. It was a 77, like, I don't even know, Bonneville or Impala. Dude, the front of the car looked just like that. Like we were two little kids. We couldn't even see, 17 years old. We couldn't even see over the dash. Yeah. He would hit the gas in that thing. You would have to hang on, bro. It was eating the ground.
Yeah.
Boom! Put you back in the seat.
Yeah, it would put you back in your seat, man. No shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the big difference now with the we hardly had any parking at our firehouse. You had to park on the street. When my first few years there, we got probably 2 or 3, 4 cars stolen every year. You go out on a pull box or a run or something like that, you come back, cars missing. But now we always had the ghetto cruisers. Now everybody has luxury cars, and it's like, firemen are doing good.
Yeah, there you go, Procaccini. There's your answer.
BMWs and big Ford trucks and everything like that. So,
I think it's about that time, Gons.
It may be that time, but before we do so, I just wanted to point out before I forget, Steve Weissman from your Fairfax says hello. I want to make sure I squeeze that in there.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in there. So I didn't want to be that. I will save that. But anyway, okay, yes, it is time.
I hope he looks as old as I do.
Maybe. All right. So, Coops, is it that time, Lou?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. What time
is it? And it's fucked up. I don't know. We keep skipping in and out.
Yeah, Lou's a little skipped up. Anyway, here we go. It is time for the old tip of the day. All right.
Old school tip of the day. I've been, watching the show. Most of the guys leave, probably everything I would say, a good tip of the day. But thinking about it, two small tips of the day would be size up. That's something I think everybody should practice. And size up doesn't start when you get to the firehouse. It starts when you leave your house, but carry that over to your off-duty time and size up go to a restaurant. When you go into a restaurant where you sit down, look for the secondary means of egress. Look for maybe where the fire extinguishers are or something. Anywhere you go, movie theater, size up the movie theater. And just that gets you in the habit of becoming better at it. And it may get your ass out of a jam on the outside, knowing where everything is. The other small tip would be learn how to force a door by yourself without any assistance. If you're the OV searching floor above, and you get trapped maybe, and there's nobody to swing them off for you, learn how to force a door just with the Halligan, and all by yourself. Even a metal frame door you can do by yourself if you do the technique right. So all that does is you just need to do, when you're after a job or whatever, and you have metal frame doors, that could be a drill for you and your company. Everybody try to force the door by themselves, and once you get the technique down, you should be good. It's always better with everybody else. If your rabbit tool breaks, you still got to have to go conventional, the old school way. So learn how to use the Halligan, and you'll be good to go. And that should be it.
Excellent.
Excellent. It's funny. We teach regularly now. We teach the guys how to force a door by themselves. We're short staffed down here. We're not rolling heavy like I always say, but
in Probie school they have that the inward outward opening door that they take around for drills to the firehouses, and it's always a 2-person operation. When I was teaching at the Rock, I go up there with the Halligan, I do it by myself, and the guys are like, "How do you do that?" Is this I got the.
You gotta learn.
You have to learn how to do it. You're not going to have somebody with you all the time.
You tell them, how do you get the Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Yeah, man, get in those reps, bro. You got to do it.
Yep.
God, let's do our last thing before we go. I'll read it off of here.
Are you ready?
Post it up.
Here it is.
All right, so Ruffy and I, for the 53rd Annual Fire Expo, hosted by Lancaster County Firemen's Association. The Fire Expo will showcase more than 250 emergency service exhibits featuring the world's leading manufacturers of fire, emergency medical services, rescue, and public safety equipment. And T-shirts with me and Ruffy there. Fire Expo not only has displays, exhibits, and live demonstrations, but also provides training from Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firefighters Association, Penn State Hershey Life, Lion Critical Care Transport, Middle Creek Search and Rescue, PA, Office of the State Fire Commissioner. Full training descriptions and details are available on our websites, www.lcfa.com/Fire Expo. So it's May 16th and 17th, 9 to 5. Come out and see me and Louie down in Harrisburg. Have a cocktail with us, so maybe.
Yeah, or 3.
Are you buying?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Come on down.
Procaccini wants to know how the pizza cutter's doing. Whoa, that's a blast.
It's selling.
All right, I got something. I got a shout out.
Go with it, kid.
So So I had sent this to the guys this past week. This was from Erin Burns Lee on Facebook. She sent me a message. I forget if it was Chief Burns or Captain Burns on the job. She said, "Thank you. You got my dad through his suffering. He had 9/11 illness and watched you guys most days. It made him feel close to the job by hearing the stories. You do so much more than you think. God bless."
Wow, that's great news,
So,
bro.
Yeah,
I read
Best
that.
job in
I was
the
like,
world.
oh.
yeah.
Best job in the world. Makes it worth seeing you guys every week, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're making a difference, bro.
Yeah. And don't forget April, first week of April, we'll be out in Indy.
Yeah,
Come and
man.
see us out there. Gonzo's is coming, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna bless you with my presence.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jim, did you know an Andrew Lavenzino?
Andrew Lavenzino.
I think I'm pronouncing it right. Lavenzino. Lavenzino. One of our regulars was asking about it earlier. I just figured let me ask.
No, I don't recall.
He's a captain in New Jersey with him. Stevie, Pee-wee, Mr. Pee-wee, who sees us very regularly on 9/11.
It's not Laredo, it's Ayurado. Don't make the same mistake I did. Anyway, you're right, Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown says now Jim's got a boat ride coming. Yes, you do. August 2nd, Jim. All of our past guests from this year, we take you out on a fireboat, the John J. Harvey. We cruise around Manhattan. We throw some drinks down our throats and some food.
Works for me.
Invitations will be going out shortly. There you go.
Right?
If it's at the firehouse saying, if it's a Frio, it's for Mio.
You'll know it.
Frio,
if you got to pay, take it away. That's what I say. Yeah.
My name is Joe. I never say no.
Oh, wow. Where you pull that?
My name is Jimmy. I take anything you give me.
You give me. There you go. All right, fellas. So next week, we're trying to get a show together next Thursday for the 100th centennial of Rescue 2. Trying to get on a couple of guys from Rescue 2. They got a great hardcover book from the same author as They Saved New York. It's a great book. We'll go over through the book, the pictures, and the history of Rescue 2 with a couple of members of Rescue 2. But until then, you know what I say. Stay low and go.
Jim, it was a pleasure all those years running it with you, brother.
Yep.
Enjoy your retirement.
It was an honor being on this.
Everybody.
All right, guys.
All right.
Remember, we're out. Rolling heavy in South Florida.
Safe,
have a good night. Yes. Good night, everyone.